Next Columbus Clippers game here on STO is just 3 weeks away against the Toledo Mud Hens on Monday, August 23rd. It's also Dime a Dog Night at Huntington Park. You'll find Jason Stanford there, I'm sure, to take advantage of that. That's August 23rd, and of course it's only here on SportsTime Ohio. Well, normally we bring you Tony Lastoria's Diamond in the Rough, but today we did one better. We brought Tony in to be a guest here to talk about the 08 and 09 draft classes. Tony, good to see you.
I see you guys too. Glad to be here.
And of course, it's minor happenings on STOHD.com. That is the great column. And first, let's start off with 08, Tony. It seems like, in the last few years, the Indians have done a nice job with the draft picks. And Cord Phelps is a guy that has really made his way through the system now. And he's definitely on the radar screen for perhaps next year or the year after. Yeah,
the draft's been a lot better the last couple of years and earlier in the 2000 decade. Phelps kind of jumped on the scene a little bit this year because he's showing a little more power at the plate. Great bat-to-ball ability, outstanding plate discipline. He's growing as a defender. I mean, he's a solid average defender, and it's really that power that's kind of jumped him on up a little bit in the rankings, and now there's a lot of depth there at second base.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, you look at the 08 draft class, and it's pretty strong now, and they've done a lot better job like you talked about. Is there somebody else out there right now that you feel is very close to getting called up, since you do follow these guys so much?
Obviously, Lion Chisenhall is a guy right there, and we're going to probably get to him in a minute here, but he's a guy that he's viewed as having like the best swing in the minors. Just great bat-to-ball ability again. He actually surprised a little bit last year, showing a little bit more power. And he struggled a little bit earlier in the year. He had a shoulder injury, kind of hampered his numbers. I mean, you see his numbers there, 279 with 12 homers. Those numbers would be a lot better if you take out those 3 weeks where he hit like 100 and a very low OPS. So a guy that's viewed as an above-average third baseman defensively, and he's going to probably be your, he's probably the heir apparent at third base in the Indians for a while, probably by mid-season next year.
Yeah, Phelps and Chisenhall, a couple of guys, Tony. We'll talk about Kipnis in a little bit too, but it seems the Indians were, always a little bit low on the second baseman or third baseman in their system. Now they have an abundance of both positions, which is great, but also on the mound from 2008. A lot of good pitchers now that we're seeing develop. A couple of guys that some people thought were not signable, like Bryce Stoll. He's a perfect example. He went in the 22nd round because people didn't think he could be signed. We spent a little extra money on him, and that's a pretty good investment thus far, as are these other two guys as well.
Yeah, we actually picked up Stoll right around the sign deadline in 2008, and we used the money we saved by trading Paul Bird to sign him. And you may see the same kind of thing happen this year with some of our guys with some of the money we saved in our trades. But yeah, Stoll, he kind of jumped up. He's really jumped this year. I know you've had Ross Atkins on here a couple times. I mean, he's up to 99 miles an hour. There's been unconfirmed reports he's hit 100 a couple times this year. And he's got a very good plus secondary offering with his breaking ball. So he's moving quickly. He's probably a relief option sometime next year. And then, as we saw with Zach Putnam, another guy who's moved very quickly. He had a little bit of an injury issue earlier in the year, kind of struggling with that a little bit. But excellent splitter, fastball combination. He's working on the slider.
Well, you look at the 09 draft now, and Alex White has, given the Indians everything that they could possibly ask for and then some, moving up a few ranks. Tell a little bit about Alex White, what you've seen, especially doing your blogs and everything via the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been as advertised. Big, strong, athletic. He's got a very good three-pitch mix with the fastball and the splitter. The slider is really the key. It was a pitch that he didn't throw a lot in college, but the Indians felt it had plus potential, and he's thrown it this year, and it's really shown a lot of strides this year. And that's going to be the key to keeping him in that starting rotation, because I know initially when they first drafted him, they were saying he'd be in the bullpen. So obviously the numbers have been phenomenal this year. Right. And one of the interesting points about those numbers is he's going to have 47 runs this year, and 20 of them have been unearned. So, it's kind of a byproduct of being a sinker ball pitcher, where you kind of rely on an infield defense, and they kind of let him down a couple times, and that's why he's giving up a couple runs here and there.
And lost a couple of games he shouldn't have lost, too.
Exactly.
That's why he's 8-7. Jason Kipnis now. Here's a kid that, I've loved since they drafted him. Took him from Arizona State. He was an outfielder. Played some second base in high school. And when they approached him and said, hey, we're going to make you a second baseman, he embraced that full force, and it's really paying off. A switch hitter with some power at the AA level. And again, another guy, Tony, that's moving up the system pretty quickly.
Yeah, he is probably the story of the year, I think, this year at the minor league system, with how quickly he has adapted to second base. He came out of college, everybody liked the bat. But the problem was, it was like one of those bats that it didn't really play well in the outfield. You want those big power bats out there in the corners. And it didn't really play. But at second base, he becomes an elite prospect at second base, because now with that bat, and also with his ability, as he's shown defensively, where he is at least now considered a major league average defensive second baseman with potential to be an above average. I mean, he's just jumping by leaps and bounds this year. And the good thing about that is he's also, you know, with working through that transition, his numbers haven't suffered. I mean, he's just been off the charts with his numbers.
Yeah, real good.
Well, you look at some of the pitchers, too, that we got in the 09 draft, Joe Gardner and even Corey Burns, and those are two very good pitchers moving up very fast through the ranks, just drafted last year. And so you look at those three guys along with Jordan Henry as an outfielder, one of those guys is going to be in the big leagues next year. I guarantee, because of the numbers that they have. Do you see anybody other than those three guys, you know, helping out?
I think definitely Alex White, who we had just talked about. I mean, he's a guy, I think, by mid-season, he'll be with the Indians next year. Gardner, he's really jumped onto the map. Not that he wasn't on to begin with, but you know, he had a serratus strain or something last year. He missed his professional debut, and then he ended up going to instructional league out in the fall, and just blew everybody away. And he's kind of used that to kind of, I guess, a springboard this year, and just having phenomenal numbers. And then it was just all with Jordan Henry. He's not very powerful, but he gets on base. He's fast. He covers an incredible amount of range in the outfield. Could be like a fourth outfielder guy down the road for the Indians.
Tony, this is some great stuff. You do a great job with your blog and your book, too. I mean, you really do the research. You're out there. Ross Atkins was telling us that, you know, he sees you out there quite a bit. So Tony's there. So if you want to find out more about the Indians prospects, you really should check out his book. It's called Minor Happenings. You can see that. That's his blog. And then his book listing the 100 top tribe prospects. Really a good read. And if you're into Indians prospects, this is definitely the way to go. Tony, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you again soon.
You're cleared for takeoff.
Coming up on Indians Minor League Magazine, Kyle C. Smith, another of the class of 09, working on his game in Mahoning Valley. Jason Stanford had a chance to talk with him, and we'll give you that interview. Coming up next.
Working arm aspect. Beautiful. 26, 36 feet per second up.